Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Mile High Game Guys board gaming podcast. I'm your host, Adrian.
I'm Zach.
And I am also white guy Jeff.
Yeah. 3 straight white guys.
Yep.
Starting a podcast.
I'm sure you can tell all
Several
the
years
differences
ago.
in our voices.
Yeah, I'm certain that we do not sound identical.
I work at a brewery.
Yeah, you do. Are you changing breweries? Do we
No.
have an update?
No.
Tyler was asking.
Oh, no.
No,
Okay.
no as in
No.
no? Or,
No as in no.
Oh, no as in no.
No as in no. No, probably no. I never heard back. I don't know.
Oh,
So,
okay.
God damn it, Jeff.
yeah,
That's different.
I still literally haven't heard anything.
That's
Okay.
That's exactly what I was going to ask.
Yeah. Yeah. No. But I did get a nice pay raise. So that's nice.
There you go.
And then they forgot to, and then they put me in the wrong pay rate. And I was like, hey, HR, I'm at the wrong pay rate. And they're like, well, you want it on your next check or do you want us to cut you a check? And I was like, cut me a fucking check.
Money, please.
Yep. You're not sitting on my interest for a week and a half or whatever it is.
Right on.
I mean, technically, retro pay is taxed at a slightly higher rate. So
I don't care.
I know.
It was literally $1.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Well, with that being our wonderful little engagement period, we now know that Jeff makes more money.
I like money.
And is still waiting on a job interview. My job interview from last Wednesday, I got a firm no.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Hey,
not a
you know
firm. It wasn't a firm no. It was a we're going in a different direction, which I interpreted as a firm no based
like,
on how the
Gotcha.
interview went because
No.
it wasn't good.
what? You need to fuck off. I thought my interview went fantastic.
Yeah.
But I literally heard nothing.
Yeah. I had, we have someone leaving at our company and they're like, hey, do you have any interest in doing that job? And I was like, no, I don't know.
No.
I like what I'm doing right here.
But can you also do the same job you are doing now and that job?
No, I definitely cannot do that. I don't.
Can
no,
you do that
it's-
without taking any more money?
That'd be great for us.
If they did want me to pivot into that, it would have to be at an increase because that shit looks annoying.
Pivot.
Yep.
Yeah. So after I got after I did my interview that I tanked, I went to game night and I played board games. And that's going to be our transition into what we played this week. I played at game night Root because we were at Denver Beer Company and I continue to play Root almost every time we go to Denver Beer Company because that has happened to randomly be the day that Megan has worked when we've been at Denver Beer Company. And Megan doesn't
Not
really
always the same week.
not always the same week.
Yeah.
Megan does not care for Root. So nights when Megan works are nights where I'm like, ooh, maybe I can play Root. So I played Root. I taught a friend of ours, a friend of ours, Andy and Brenna. And then we played with Ryan, who looks like a hobo trying to get a job.
Yes, he does.
In that
He has
went from-
transitioned. Yeah.
He went from looking like a hobo to a hobo who cut his hair and trimmed his beard.
Yep.
Moving along in the world.
Yeah.
We played on the winter map with random clearing locations. So that was spicy. Brenna played the Irie because I feel like that's a pretty good one for new players. It's pretty simple what you do as far as like decisions to make on your turn.
Because
and then after
the
that,
decisions are made for you of like, I have to do this and I have to do this and I have to do this.
Yep.
Yeah.
Turns out I did slightly underestimate how difficult the decision of what card to play and where is for somebody completely new to Root with no background in it whatsoever. So there was a little bit of a learning curve there at the beginning of the game. But she managed to not turmoil for a very long time. So she did very well there. Andy, he played
The fucking Woodland Alliance.
the Woodland Alliance. That I didn't realize how much of an irrational hatred Zach has of Woodland Alliance.
Well, every time that I've played previously, they've been there, and I've been the person that they're like, you know what, I'm gonna hang up all in your shit and just deal with you all day. And I'm like, oh fuck, no, you just gotta stomp them. Always stomp them because once they get that foothold, they're real annoying to get out. Usually because people will be like, well, I'll let you deal with that. I'm gonna go get points this way, and you're like, you motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if I attack them, I've got to give them a card. I don't want to do that.
Exactly.
So, Zach, you got this, right, buddy?
No, I don't. Never.
Ryan played the Mole People.
The Duchy.
The Underground Duchy. which again fitting for
The douchey,
the hobo Ryan to play the underground duchy. He very unfortunately positioned himself in such a way that he was between Brenna playing the Irie and myself, who ended up playing Lizard Cult. And so he got caught between the lizard's hatred of birds and the bird's desire to spread all over the map. And so he kept getting punished for that. It was a good game. It felt a little long, but it only ended up being like 2 to 2.5 hours of actual playtime.
Which at game night is good.
Which, yes, especially because we didn't get started nearly as early as I'd hoped. We could have. And I managed to get a victory as the Lizard Cult. I've always really liked the Lizard Cult, but I've always done really poorly as them. But I felt that this time they clicked a little bit better of how to play them well, and I was able to actually pull off the victory. Definitely helped that there were 2 new players. Andy, I didn't realize, was playing the Woodland Alliance wrong for a while, in that he thought he could only put 1 card from his hand into his supporters. And like halfway through the game, when he realized that wasn't the case, he was like, okay, all 5 of those cards are going into my supporters now. Great. Glad I could do that the whole fucking time. And then he almost mounted a comeback. So I'm glad he didn't realize that for the whole game. It would have been much harder to keep the Woodland Alliance under control if they'd been playing to the full abilities.
Yeah, if they knew how to play, man, they may have had a chance.
Yeah, we did a real good job teaching them wrong. So
I've never played Woodland Alliance, so I'm not super familiar with how they play. That's my excuse.
Well, how did he learn that he could do that?
He read his player board.
Oh, weird. Gotcha. So when you were explaining it to him,
I told them to read their player boards, and then it told you how to play the game.
Okay, all right.
And that's it. You started.
Yep.
I attack.
So.
You know how to defend. Because I'm not going to tell you. Read your player board.
But it was good. It was good to get a play route. It was good to get a win as the Lizard Cult. Andy really liked it. He would like to play again. Brenna, I think, is probably going to be okay. And Ryan, has liked it and continues to like it. So it's good to have a little bit of a root crew around, people who like to play root. I want to play it kind of regularly. I'm going to try and bust it out probably once a month. And I'm going to start trying to branch out and try some of the other factions. I think I might try Otters next. I've never played Otters either.
Who are you again? You were the cult, right?
I was the Lizard Cult.
Yeah. Well, you still got to be the Vagabond too. I
also still have to play Vagabond. It'll also make it easier to teach if I actually know what all of the factions do.
Sure.
So, after that, we played the crew because Andy and Brenna are both Midwesterners, and so they like trick-taking games. And I was like, let's learn trick-taking games where you play cooperatively. And there was the normal, like, wait, what? Like, you mean I want you to take tricks? Yes, but only at the right times. And you want to take tricks at the right times, and we all want to take tricks at different times. And then
how many times did Ryan fuck it up?
Ryan did not play with us, so he did not.
Oh, he left?
He stepped away.
Okay,
so
well, good, because he's the couple times I've played with him, he kept he kept taking the wrong shit at the wrong time.
Somebody played with us though that wasn't? Maybe it was Ryan.
I'm just gonna say that you probably got even who you played root with wrong, so it doesn't matter.
I definitely got who I played root with.
No.
You know what? When the episode releases, we're gonna get a lot of corrections of like, no, I actually played that game with you.
Here's the thing:
the average number of Adrian corrections per episode is 1.
I remember now
per game.
Adrian was sitting by himself the entire time.
He was just holding the rule book and moving his hands around an empty table as though he were playing the game.
Yeah. He was fucking hammered.
No, he was dead sober. That's what was worse.
That's what was so sad about it.
He was having a psychotic episode.
Yeah, just a break. Yeah.
Other than that, Mile High Dungeon Delvers, we had another session of that, which is a lot of fun. Really enjoy the D&D campaign. And then I'm ready to be heard again. Ian sent me an invite to a 3-player game of Through the Ages with him and Boyd that I will be accepting sometime this evening and starting this evening. So I'm ready to be heard again by Boyd. And that's what I've been playing. Jeff, what about you? What have you played?
I did another game of Pandemic Legacy Season 0. We're now halfway through. No, we're going to start June. So we're almost halfway through. One of the interesting things this does is there's actually 2 separate Legacy decks. You only unwrap the first half with the first half of the game. So we'll soon be getting into the second sealed deck, which is neat. It continues to be very good. I would highly recommend.
We need to
Pandemic
start that at some
Season
point.
0.
Yes, we do.
We just had our first loss in the previous session. And the way they do, I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but the way they do winning and losing isn't just like you won or you lost. You can be succeeding where you get all the objectives, failing if you get no objectives, but if you get some of the objectives, you get adequate and still move on to the next month. You get less upgrade points.
Oh, that's worse than trying it again.
Yeah.
Getting a win.
Yeah,
Although it's better points probably, I bet, than because you count up when you score at the end how many losses you had.
Yeah, and then there's like a book of like numbered paragraphs that will, whether you succeeded or failed the objectives, be reading out of the book, and you will get certain things by winning or losing. We got our first fail, but then our redo of it, we fucking crushed it. It's great.
Nice.
Everything went well. And we've been doing a lot more of trading around the roles, not just the same person playing the same role every time.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's a nice way to kind of mix it up.
Yeah.
So it's tempting to just always play, though.
Yeah, so Ant didn't have to be like the radio operator the whole time. Just his entire turn is just moving other people.
That's not as fun.
Yeah.
I often play the radio operator.
Yeah. I don't know. Pandemic Legacy Season 0 gives you a lot of other cool things you can do with your characters instead of just being that one dude. So, yeah, Pandemic Legacy Season 0. Very good still. Played a game of Cabo at the game night. Played with Pat, who came down from, I don't know, southern Wyoming or wherever the fuck he lives.
Basically Canada.
Yeah, basically Canada. But he comes to our northern most game nights and hangs out.
Yeah.
We met him first he's been a long time fan, friend of the show. Now just friend, because he has come to like the Mile High Cabin Con, I think was his first physical appearance.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, because then I think he's been to the...
He's been
DC
twice.
now.
Yeah. A new person that came through that was friends with Ryan's wife.
Yes.
And then Keith and I, all three of them had never played. So I was like, here's a game that we can play. Keith.
I think that person was just a random person. I don't think that person knew Ryan's wife. They just started chatting while we were playing because Ryan's wife came and joined, just sitting next to Ryan, eating a cheeseburger and mocking Ryan along with the rest of us on how bad he was getting beat at Root.
Oh, perfect. That's great.
Well, I assume
as every sane person should be doing that.
Of course.
So. Well, I assume they became fast friends.
They did seem
and now
connect a little, get along.
So then she introduced her best friend now to Cabo. Keith got into first place and then proceeded to win be in first place for the entire game until the end.
Yep.
Where he won.
That's always a nice way to ride that out in Cabo.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And then was surprised when people kept fucking with him. He's like, why you keep fucking? Because you're in first and you've always been in first.
Yes.
And you always are in first and you'll always and forever.
and then he's trying to pull shit like, well, Jeff won the last two hands. And it's like, yeah, and you're still in first.
Yep.
So yeah, we played Cabo, and that was about it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Zach, what about you?
Well, Jeff and I also played another round of JIME.
Oh yeah,
which I just remembered when I was looking at your copy of it.
Yeah. Is it still on stream?
Yeah. It's on shrink.
No, it's not because it's used.
Yes.
But it has not really been opened.
Mm-hmm. So
we just did one mission.
Yeah.
Because it was huge.
Recently, a lot of the ones we've been doing have just been one because they've been big.
Big. Yeah.
This one was really...
Journey maps specifically. It's one with all the tiles, not the battle maps that are small ones.
This one was very big, and we ended up barely fucking losing it because it was an exploration one where you had to figure out where... like you're looking for something, and so it'd be like 3 different corners, and then you go to a corner, and then it's like, well, you can go one of 2 ways, and then when you go into that, then it's like, oh, now you have to complete this thing in order to get into this other thing. And
it was a lot of caves.
A lot of caves,
yeah.
And then a lot of times, like you'd get into a cave, and it's just like you hear the wind or a fart, and then
and then you just turn around,
and then you turn around.
There's literally nothing in there, like nothing to search, nothing.
But there were like six 2, 4, 8 places we had to search with us, just the 4 of us.
There was some clues at the beginning that weren't super clear, and we didn't know how like serious, because it was all these ancient like.
I don't know. I feel like as the person that found it, they were super clear to me.
Oh, totally. Yeah. So we just sort of spread out and kept searching, and we didn't find the right one until way later. And it was like there was no way to even go back and look. It was like, oh, what the fuck was the right path? Because they had these different, like, there was the Pine Way and the Rose Gate, but it was like over the centuries, like they may have changed names at some point where it was like, now it's Pine Road. Oh, could this be the Pine Way? Or I don't know, some lovers went that way 100 years ago. Maybe that's the Pine Way. And you just were like, and some note you got at the beginning was like, some guard was like, well, I didn't see anyone that night, and was like, what the fuck does that even matter?
Yeah.
Like,
well, and really what we found out is that stopping to do anything except advance that was bad.
Yes. We did find these 2 lovers, and one of them drew a map so they could hang out and have a picnic.
That's right, the boys. We were looking.
Yes, we were like, we were on the lookout for the boy.
The boy,
yeah. It's like, ooh, now we're looking for boys.
Yeah.
All right. Because we had to point the boy to the other opposite end of the map. Thankfully, I was there, and I could have a picnic with like the couple.
Oh. Yeah.
And then we got like lore or something.
Yeah. And it was like, hello, boy. I know your name.
Zero to creeper, like
it was very funny. Yeah, we had a lot of fun with that.
Yeah. And I forgot which one was like a boy, or were they both boys? I don't know. But yeah, that was fun. And then like a boss appeared, and then we got like 2 swings at it, and like didn't win. And that was it.
Well, and the problem is that it required it had a shroud up. So what is that, like, pierce but for magic?
It's not Sunder. Sunder is permanent armor reduction.
Yes. Well, whatever it is.
Smite.
It required Smite to do any real damage to him.
And anyone that was attacking, because it had like 4 magic armor, which is a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like a lot.
Yeah. Well, and the problem was that I'm a tank character, so like at most I can do 7 damage Sunder, which I did, which I was able to do luckily, but it's still like, so I did about 4 damage to him, but he had like 10 health. And so we found it on the very last turn. I got 1 shot, and then Paul shot him twice and failed. So
yeah. And then that was the end of the thing. But the penalty for losing was only like 1 XP difference. It was 3 XP. Yeah. It's usually 2 for losing, 4 for winning. And we got 3, so that didn't seem like a big punishment for that one.
Yeah,
which was nice. And then that was JIME. And it was a big fucking map.
It was a real big map. Like it kept crowding in all of our spaces.
Yeah. The table was quickly growing not big enough.
Yep. And then at game night, while you were playing Root, but before Jeff played Cabo, I played some Pandemic Iberia.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Keith was there, Pat was there, and then local friend Taylor was also there.
Okay, yeah.
And I mean that one continues to be my favorite Pandemic, normal style Pandemic.
It's really good.
And we were just playing like standard setup, none of the historical diseases, none of the not with hospitals or with like the traveling patients, whatever it's called. Because none of them had played. It had been a while since any of them had played Pandemic, and none of them had played that one. And it does handle itself differently with how it deals with trying to deal with the diseases. But we just sort of got card fucked at the end. Well, one, it sucked that like the first flip for someone's turn was a Pandemic.
Oof. Yeah,
which
that's
is always
a
rough.
bad start.
But then until the last fucking like 10 cards, we saw like maybe 5 blue cards.
Oh shit.
Yeah. And then we were able to get them, but we just couldn't. Everybody who had the ability to like build a hospital, because in Iberia you have to, like, you're not curing diseases because it's 18 whatever. You you're just researching them, but you have to
like kind of treating them.
Yeah. So you just have to research them, but it's in the same colored hospital. So like you need a blue hospital in order to research the blue disease. And anybody who had the card to build a hospital, they were in the fucking corner parts of the blue side of the map, which we didn't really have much access to on the trains. So at the end, when I'm like, I have all of the cards we need, there are just no hospitals available for me to actually use it. And so we failed by like 1 or 2 actions, but realistically, it was still 4 turns away because I couldn't finish it on my turn. So then it would have had to go on to the next turn in order for it to happen. So So we just ran out of time on that one, but I still love it. They really liked it. And I just like how fucking difficult you can make that one. Because some of those diseases,
I don't think I've ever played with more than 2 of the diseases.
Oh God, yeah. I couldn't imagine playing with all 4 of them and
the hospitals
and the traveling patients.
And there is like a harder. You can put in. It comes with more epidemic cards.
Yeah, you
right?
can add an additional one to make it. Yeah. So there's 3 different different levels of difficulty that you can make it. So
yes, woof.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Iberia is very good.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna keep bringing that out to play. It's always. I think that one's nice at least because it's far enough away that like during all this you still don't have to be like, yeah, see, this is like a past thing we don't have to worry about.
Yeah, remember when we couldn't even treat these things?
Yeah. But then after that, played some cribbage, right, as is normal when all the game nights. But afterwards, Wes and I played Fox in the Forest again, which is that 2-player trick-taking game, and it still surprises me, like,
and Direwolf just did a digital implementation of that.
I can see that.
Yeah, I think they just made an app for Fox in the Forest. I was like, Fox in the Forest, that game exists and has a publisher, and I was like, oh, it's the digital one.
Yeah,
it's not like they're taking over the physical one.
Yeah. No, but
I really want to play it.
You should play. Wes brings it pretty frequently, so and I'm sure he'd be willing to try it out.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely like a lot of trick taking games. It's hard to do 2-player, but this one found a good way to do it. So
nice.
Yeah. But that's basically it for me in terms of board games.
Cool. So relatively short what we've been playing, but still some fun times.
Still some fun times.
It's pretty game chock full.
It
wasn't an hour and 50 minutes. I'll give you that.
Yeah, it wasn't 2 conventions and like 5 weeks worth of board gaming.
Yeah.
If we could just fit that into every week, that I think people would be happier. So.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when I used to play games outside of game night, but that hasn't happened for ages for me.
I've really only played like campaign games outside of game night.
Yeah.
Which is probably for the best, because then you actually finish the campaigns.
Exactly.
And then don't have Betrayal Legacy down.
Yeah. Oh,
there it is. Yep, I see it right over there.
Yeah.
That was another one, like when Zach was like, oh, we need to start our Pandemic Zero. I was like, yeah, we also need to.
Yeah, well, that's going to involve him too, so.
Am I supposed to play your Pandemic Legacy season?
No, Betrayal.
No, Betrayal.
Yeah,
yes.
Betrayal.
Yeah.
And Megan too.
And
but
Megan,
even Megan was like, are we ever going to play Time Stories again or Betrayal Legacy? And I was like, I would like to do both of those things at some point in the future. The pandemic broke a lot of that stuff.
I mean, maybe not just that. Maybe we found all these times to play those things. I don't know, like, middle of the day on the weekends used to be great for doing that.
Yeah, like weekends where no one has to work during the entire day.
Yeah.
If you guys are insinuating that the change in my gaming habits started in, I don't know, March of 2019, you're crazy, sirs. I don't know what you're talking about.
What could have possibly gone wrong?
Yeah. So that'll move us over into a banter section. I was going to say a short banter section, but really I never know.
Yeah.
You get into banter, and that's like in the movie Inside Out when they go into like abstract territory and it just starts to break down.
Right.
And you might not ever get out of it.
This is where the podcast will start breaking down.
Yeah. So I finished Horizon Zero Dawn, the
Yay.
main story quest.
Nice.
I've still not done Frozen.
I think the last podcast we referenced backdooring, and
Yes.
you didn't understand the reference.
didn't.
Now you understand the reference.
Because and it was funny, that one we got done podcasting. I went downstairs, fired it up, and within like 20 minutes I messaged you guys and I was like, I understand that reference. Yeah. Wow. Super fucked up robotics guy. What he does there then, you know, I'm not going to spoil it, even though it's like a, I don't know, 2-year-old
now people know
game.
there's a guy.
There's a guy who does robotic stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm also
And the game with robot dinosaurs? What?
Yeah. Where could these robot dinosaurs come from?
Yeah.
I will say, the timeline, once everything kind of falls into place and you figure out what the timeline actually is, and it's been like 1,000 years since, I don't think that's a huge spoiler.
No, it's clearly these ruins have been here for a very long time.
Yeah. But my problem is I don't buy for sure that they would become like that. Especially the bunkers and things that you go into where they're like half caves. I don't think that would happen on that time scale. Like when you go into like
I think the original thought is they built them into caves.
yeah, but some of them it looked like the caves had taken back over. I don't know. I'll have to, because I'm going to definitely do New Game Plus. I'll have to keep an eye out and see that, because I hadn't really thought about that.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it looked like they were so old that the caves were taking.
No,
back
I think they were
over.
supposed to be part
Yeah.
caverns.
But I mean, some of them, like there's like minerals on like the banks of computers.
Look, it could have been
and
a very
stuff.
watery cave, and you know that's how all that stuff's. You know,
I still
There
don't think
are-
it happens on that time scale.
you know, there's enough sci-fi crap in there that maybe this thing may have caused it's
and that was
hard to get into spoilers without talking about it.
I know
so-
that was the other thing is so it vaguely takes place in Colorado, which I don't think is
Yes,
a
it
huge
does.
spoiler.
Yeah, you walk out
you learn
into
that pretty much immediately.
like Denver, Boulder
Yep.
area.
You see the stadium, you see Red Rocks, that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
So.
one of the first places is like one of the like viewpoints. There's viewpoints scattered around. One of those is like the Air Force Academy.
Yep.
But that was one of the things that like I didn't buy is it was like Colorado Springs, Denver, Red
it
Rocks,
is definitely
and then
a
like
condensed.
well, but then like the Air Force Academy was south of the Springs, which it's between the Springs and Denver, and there were mountains to the east of the Springs, and it's like, what happened over the course of 1,000 years?
You can hand wave a lot because of the background story of the game.
Yeah.
Of like why these things.
Well, and for me at least, it's just like it's
also
like,
the entire state shrank real hard.
Yeah, you can't run from the stadium to Red Rocks in like 10 minutes. Sorry, you can't do that.
It's probably less than that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was being very generous. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and yes, and that's those kind of things I'm fine
Video
with. Very
game.
hand wavy.
Yeah. And then you also have to have it be like, oh, it actually needs to feel like a what's the word I'm looking for? Like concealed area, not concealed area, but like contained area. So
Yes.
like mountains, I mean, yeah, it's not exactly, but whatever.
Yeah, it's a game of but whatever.
Yeah.
It just like I told Megan, it's hard for me because and this happens in everything. Once you know something about something, it's hard for you to watch like a movie or play a game about that thing because you know just enough to be like, I see the holes.
Yeah,
I see the problems.
It's fine. Remember the jungle that's just south of here?
So that I did buy in the story that just enough time has passed. Climate and world things are very different. I mean,
seems like you're explaining it to yourself of why these things are different.
There's a difference between like there's a difference between like plants growing somewhere because suddenly there's more moisture and there being an entirely new mountain range.
No, those seem roughly the same to me. I don't.
Yeah, you just plant some mountain seeds.
But there's,
exactly.
there's reasons why. I mean, the whole story is fucking nuts.
Yes,
the whole story is indeed bonkers.
You gonna are you're still trying to get a PS5, right?
I am still trying to get a PS5.
All right,
but
is there a PS5 upgrade for that one?
I want to get a PS5. I'm not searching actively. Like at some point they will become presumably more widely available. Yeah. Every now and then I search and see if there's one and or if somebody messages me, if Jeff ever messages me one morning is like, dude, they just hit GameStop, go fucking pre-order.
I mean, it happens every day. I've just stopped texting you about it.
You son of a bitch.
Yeah. Once again, I told you, just follow one of those things that let me get one. You ordered it.
I was watching a live stream and someone in chat was like, pre-orders are up. And I was like, click, check out. Because I already had a Target account, of course.
Yeah.
It's like, boop, 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 done. All right, cool.
Nice. But anyway, that's it.
Yeah, but Forbidden West is coming out on the PS5. So
next year.
Is that 2? Is that like a full sequel?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
Same main character.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yes. Older.
Not
much older.
I would assume.
But,
Okay.
but it'll be West Coast.
Yep.
Like the trailers
San
have shown like San
Francisco.
Francisco.
Cool.
Yeah.
So that's my main bantery thing. Video, at least for video game banter things.
Gotcha.
I'm sure at some point we will have to talk about Dune.
We will at some point, but I want to talk about a video game
First. Okay.
So I started playing Inscryption.
Yeah.
And boy, howdy, did I really like it until it switched. How far have you gotten into it?
I've gotten to the third boss.
Okay. So I beat the fourth boss.
Okay.
And then stuff happens. And I was like,
okay.
I don't know if I'm down for this anymore.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's a deck builder?
Yes.
Okay.
No, it is a deck builder. Yes.
With card construction
Okay.
as well.
Mhm.
Okay.
And you're kind of following a path and like upgrading your cards, sacrificing your
Yeah.
cards. It's a very like
I mean,
horror-y kind of game.
aesthetic wise, and then it plays like a roguelike in certain aspects. Oh, I mean,
Yeah.
technically,
Yeah, it's a roguelike.
yeah, it's like a roguelike in that.
But it also has some escape room elements.
Yeah.
Intriguing.
Where you'll get clues that, well, you're in this room and you can go to different parts and be like, oh, I don't know how to interact with things, but I found a combo that opens up a vault, and then you can kind of move from there.
Yeah,
Okay.
And also,
Weird.
and also the cards start talking to you.
they do.
Okay.
Yeah. And
And-
like, that's weird.
Yeah,
So when you say the cards start talking to you, are you the player like a person with a deck of cards?
yes. And like you'll look at a card and it'll be like text will start appearing on it.
Because it's talking to you.
It's talking to you of like this guy's
Okay.
fucking crazy. Just
Because
hold
you're
on.
playing against a crazy man across from you. You don't know what they are, but it is kind of horror-y.
All I will say is it's a lot more than just that.
Okay.
So
Weird.
yeah,
Yeah, it seems like everyone's been like
Is,
very, very positive on it.
is it on Xbox?
I think it is
Season Pass?
just PC.
Ah.
It's like
not-
it's
It's like $20.
yeah.
$15 if you have the humble membership, like I do.
Yeah.
Oh.
But yeah, basically, when you start the game, you actually are hitting like the new game part is like
You put
grayed out.
you put in a floppy disk,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, let's see what's on this computer as like a voice, and then you like, there's no new game, it's only continue.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's super.
Yeah.
It's super.
I got to the part where new game starts. That's where I was like, this is taking a turn. That's what I said. I didn't know if you had gotten to that part yet.
No,
so.
not yet.
Okay.
I've only played it for like the first hour on that day, and I just haven't been home because I've been busy working and everyone's sick.
One really cool thing it has is when you die, like you fail, you make a death card where
Because you are murdered.
Because you're
or something.
murdered by
I don't
this
know.
guy.
Maybe you are murdered, but
he takes a camera and then you are just a
he
new
locks
person.
he locks you in a closet.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I will say the aesthetics are real creepy in the sense that he's always just like in the shadows, but you can see his eyes, but you can see parts of him, and then he wears like a mask, and then you're like,
each of the bosses has like their own.
Each of the bosses
personality.
is him.
Yeah,
That it's him
But he
putting
has a-
on a mask. It's
I
real
really
creepy.
like the prospector.
Yes.
because he's always like, yeehaw!
What
they're
the fuck?
they're gold in them there hills.
Yep. Yep.
Like.
Yeah.
But it's all text. There's no actual voice to it. But,
Yes.
but you can really feel like the
Yeah.
difference in the characters.
All I know is that I saw some people say like, "Oh, this would be cool to play in VR." No, thank you.
No.
When he just start like it's darkness, and then you see his hands just go like,
Reaching for you
And they're-
through the
and they're big. However big you're thinking his hands are, they're bigger than that.
yeah.
It is very creepy. But the death card is, it's like it'll take 2 cards from your deck and be like, which cost do you want to use? And you'll use the cost of one of them. And then it's like, what strength do you like? Strength and health. So like I was able to get one that was, it was just 1 sacrifice in order to get it out. It was a 4/6. And then it also, I could use it to sacrifice and it wouldn't die.
Eternal.
Yeah, it was eternal. And that was the one where I was able to beat. No, the one I was able to beat, it was the Manus God that I got that could attack 3 things, and it could do
4. So the card battling is basically there's 4 lanes, and then it's attacking whatever's like in front, and then you just go back and forth. It's very basic.
It's very basic, but
one can attack the first and then both sides with that skill.
But I was able to pump him up to get 3 damage each time he hit, and anytime you hit an empty space, it would attack the main guy. But also, if you do 5 damage to the main guy, that's the end of the you beat him that round.
The way that you win or lose is there's a scale, and depending on how much damage you do, you need to do like up to 5 damage.
5 gold teeth worth of damage.
You realize after you gain the pliers item that the things when you're doing damage that are going into the scale that are going back and forth are teeth.
And one of the things you can do with the plier
is like you just rip out one of your teeth, plink it in there, boom, it's one to the other side.
Yeah. Did you find the knife yet?
I think
what the fuck is this game?
Yeah, it's fucked.
It's a card battler. How does this not?
Yeah, it's a roguelike card deck builder, man. But everything, it uses blood and sacrifice to
Jesus.
But it's all animals fighting, so
that makes it
yeah.
That you really did not help yourself there.
No, it's fine. So
blood and sacrifice, but it's animals.
But it's animals. It's animals.
It's a woodland critter Christmas.
And then maybe you. I don't know.
Or maybe past versions of you too.
Maybe. So like you have your basic card, the squirrel, which you can draw indefinitely. That's your explorer of Star Realms reference. Which a wolf requires 2 blood to play, so it has to eat 2 things. It could be 2 squirrels, or it could be really anything else.
Or it could be a cat that you can keep eating forever, but
that's
true. It still lives.
Yeah. It's very useful. Or it could be a wolf pup, which only needs 1, but then it will turn into a wolf after a turn delay. So it'll grow. And then there's like a zillion other things in there. But
I see.
Like a snake that's poison. And it's kind of like magic rules. Like they have attack, they have defense, but they don't heal up. So it like their damage stays.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a crazy game.
It is a crazy, crazy game.
But let me know when you beat that 4th boss.
Okay.
I'm curious to see.
Yeah, I got to the 3rd boss on my like 2nd run, so I assume I should get there pretty easy. I got into a couple runs where I was like, I have nothing I can do about this. Burp, dead.
No, I would just say if you can get a Manus God and then just pump its health and damage up, you're good.
Yeah.
You're good.
Right on. Jeff, did you have a video game? While we're in the video game section of Banter.
I haven't had time to do anything. I watched the Formula 1 race because it was in Austin, Texas.
Like a packed bar, right?
Yeah, super packed. It was the Celtic downtown, which is also a horse betting spot.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, we went down there, a friend of mine, and then Tom Photos, and he brought Tom's friend Trevor Davis.
I haven't seen Trevor Davis in ages.
Yeah. He's in on the condo this year, so I'll see him. And yeah, we had like the only table. I got there at 12:15, 45 minutes before the race started, and it was already fucking packed. Almost all the tables were gone. There was one more table that had like 6 seats, and I was like, well, but it was 2 like smaller tables. I was like, we could split this off depending on how many people we get. And these other 2 people showed up with Max Verstappen hats, and I was like, you may sit. And because I only thought it was going to be Tom and my friend Josh, but then Tom brought two other people, and I was like, well, it's going to be a little tight. But yeah, it was fun. They had like all the TVs there. I think the amount of people they were expecting was not that many for a, Formula 1 race, because there is a group that does meet up there for every race, but it's usually 6, 7 a.m., 8 a.m., and probably not that many people.
Is Formula 1 something that is growing in popularity?
It is growing very much in popularity, mostly due to the Drive to Survive Netflix series, which
I didn't know was a thing.
It's like a 10
people
episode.
are driving, and then you kill the people that don't drive well enough.
It's like Carmageddon.
Yeah.
It is a 10-part documentary series that follows the season. It started 2018. Yeah, 2018, 2019, 2020. So there's 3 seasons right now. And so people have been watching that and been like wanting to get into the sport.
Okay.
And this season is also very competitive for the championship. Like we're down to the last 5-6 races, and going into this race, there was only a 6-point difference. Now there's a 12-point difference. Where before it was always just a fucking getting blown out of the water for like the last 7 years. Someone would be winning by like a crazy amount.
By like halfway or
so
something.
the season writers have learned that having it close and a little bit of drama actually makes for a better season.
Netflix is behind all this.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was tons of people. It was tons of fun. It was a very close race all the way to the end. It was a very good race. Shaquille O'Neal was there. He handed out the trophies, and he makes them all look so tiny because the drivers themselves are actually generally not super tall. Max Verstappen, the current championship leader, I was like, he's 5'11". He doesn't look 5'11", but they're also just like tight.
Yeah.
They're like as little weight as possible as race car drivers. Yeah.
Right on.
It was a good race. That was probably the only fun thing I've done.
You saw Dune?
Yeah,
Wasn't that
so
fun?
let's talk about Dune.
I felt like shit during Dune.
Oh.
Like the part where he was tripping balls in a tent, I was like, I'm right there with you, man. I just felt like crap. And I was like, why do I feel like such shit? I could barely. It's like, now you're making me feel worse because you probably feel like shit. Yeah. And I was just like, oh, this is pretty good. But man, do I feel like shit this whole fucking movie.
Well, that sucks.
That does suck.
I feel bad about that. So I'm just going to turn and face Zach
Yeah.
as we talk about how awesome fucking Dune was.
It was a lot of fun.
So I started reading / listening back and forth the audiobook and the ebook Dune because I'd never read it or listened to it or anything. All of my knowledge of it,
pop culture or anything like that,
was all pop culture references. I thought that was going to be louder to open.
It's a bottle, not a can.
Still, though, sometimes there's I don't know. Yeah, pretty much all pop culture references. Which, because I am a denizen of the internet, lot of pop culture references about Dune over the years.
Also, the amount of board games you've played with Dune is the theme.
Well, especially recently.
Yeah. When it was supposed to come out, you mean?
Yeah. So I was really impressed. I got far enough. I have not finished Dune, the book, yet, but I got far enough along that nothing in the movie was new to me. I was blown away because I've also always heard for years, even before this movie was even announced, that Dune was one of those you can never make it. Like you can't do it. I was really amazed at how good it did at telling the story of Dune. Like there were things obviously that weren't included or that were left out or that were changed slightly, but all of them were like,
that's all like
fine.
Book stuff that it works in a book that is harder to do in a movie without just like if they really explained like what a mentat was.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's going to like eat a minute or two of just being like, oh, these guys are like super smart because of then there's this whole AI rebellion. All right. So then we got it's just
so
and it might not have actually been a rebellion, but maybe just a rebuff of all technology.
Yeah. So yeah.
Although it would have been funny if just the entire movie played exactly the same, except there was just like one dude that was just talking like
just off to the side.
Yeah. Let's do it like Blade Runner, the original one with the Harrison Ford voiceovers.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
We got to explain the things to the audience.
Yeah. Because they're stupid.
So it was interesting. I watched it. We all watched it pretty much together. We were all spread all across the theater really weirdly. But I watched
Buffer seating.
I watched it with Megan, and she hadn't read anything.
Yeah.
And so it was interesting talking about it with her. And she felt like they did a good enough job of like she was able to vaguely pick up on things. Like they did a really good job using small details to tell the story. Like the mentat thing. Like they had him, their like eyes kind of go white, and then he rattled off some crazy complex, calculation.
Amount of money that it would have taken them to just come here and
say
bring
hi.
this,
and it was, stupid amounts of money. It was clear he did a complex calculation kind of thing. And so that, and they did good visual markers. Like all the mentats had like a little facial like mark that were like, okay, that's a
and their
mentat.
lips were red.
Yeah. I didn't super notice that. That's interesting because like the red thing was usually from some like a specific drug that only some people had red lips because they were all into that
mentats
drug.
should also have those red lips if I recall.
I don't know. Maybe
they should have.
Yeah, I think because isn't it they use the spice to help change all
red lips aren't a spice thing though.
Yes, pretty sure that's why they can be mentats.
I don't. See, now I'm going to have to reread the entire series because I'm actively in the middle of it, and that does not sound right at all.
The guild navigators, they
definitely do.
And the more you use it, the more you're like mutated beyond humanity.
Yeah.
Unless you're a Fremen who just lives amongst it constantly and you only get blue eyes.
Yeah,
but good fighter.
But I wish they would have shown more of the Spacing Guild and how fucking crazy monsters they are that are like piloting those ships.
Yeah.
Boom. Thank you, Hydra, for backing me up.
Sopho juice gives them their
And I didn't think all of them were, but maybe that I could have just missed that some of them.
Gotcha.
Maybe some of them are more like addicted to it than others. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. I have also never read any of this stuff. I have only caught it just from pop culture or just being like, oh, I wonder what that, like someone mentioned something like, oh, what's that? And then I look up just the context of that and I'm like, oh, got it.
The only thing I'm not sure of is I'm pretty sure almost all the way through the book, I don't think I've ever read or heard, because like I said, I'm doing kind of a mix read and listen, the phrase, the spice must flow. Like, so that seems to be one of those weird, like, pop culture, like, maybe it happens later in the book, maybe, like right at the end, or maybe it's in one of the sequels, or maybe it's just one of those things that's become like a saying that wasn't actually a part of anything, but that people kind of make up because it sounds vaguely right, or like something someone would say in the thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But holy shit, the movie was good.
Yeah. So we saw it in the big show, which is like IMAX light.
I maintain that their audio is a little much.
It's Dolby Atmos. It's real good for like the when they did the voice, which is like some people can use to like control other people. That one, it felt otherworldly. It didn't feel like demonic or.
It is specifically from the David Lynch movie that is from.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah. But like it did an amazing job with that, and then a lot of the like when explosions and shit happen, you're like, oh, this is great. But or like when the sand dune or not sand, the worms are coming, or like you hear like they feel that. But then when like someone's like whispering, you're like, what? Excuse me, ma'am.
Or when somebody's tripping balls, and so there's like weird tripping balls, like and then they're trying to like there's voices and visions.
Villeneuve.
Yes. Denis Villeneuve. I don't. I'm not gonna
French
try
guy,
to do his last
French
name.
director guy.
I've always called him Dennis, and then
Denis?
I was
And
talking
then
to somebody, and they're like,
like
no,
Denis.
it's definitely like
Denis.
Denis.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, I guess he is very French.
He's like French Canadian, I think, or something like that.
He's super French.
Yeah.
He's said that he used like whispers as like inner monologue because there is a ton of inner monologue in the book.
So much.
So he tried to use whispers as the portion of that inner monologue.
Yeah. That's where the one good thing for people, because this also came out HBO Max day and date, is that they could turn subtitles on and then catch all that shit.
Yeah, both Paul and Wes have already rewatched it. I haven't yet. I will probably do that maybe Wednesday when Megan's at work. But they said that being able to throw on subtitles was very nice.
I just have to find 2.5 hours to sit in front of a TV with nothing else going on.
Yeah, I don't know.
I have like a snowboard meeting tomorrow for checks for the condo.
Oh, okay.
And it's going to see Gojira Wednesday.
Well, see, that's your problem. You're wasting time watching old Godzilla movies.
Yeah. I might have a free Thursday, maybe.
Wait, when are we seeing Shin?
Gojira is not Shin Godzilla.
I know that. When are we seeing it? Okay, well, you don't have
to
worry
about that after the show.
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know.
Tuesday, November 11th.
Okay.
Anything else banter for y'all?
No. It's just that movie is good. If you're interested in seeing it, definitely see it. And it did a good job.
Yeah. I was hoping that there would be news today of a green light for the second one.
I'm sure
it did the best that an HBO Max like day and date movie has done in the theaters.
It's also like one of Warner Brothers' best yet.
Yeah.
$40 million this weekend.
Yeah.
So,
but who knows how much more it's going to get.
I did pretty well out international, so yeah.
I did see a meme that was like the metal one where it's like the guy like biting the metal, like spraying the like thing, and then he's like third. So it was Dune like doing all that, and it was then Dune in third with like Shang-Chi and Bond.
Yeah.
And then somebody was like, yeah, but Warner Brothers, the title was like, but Warner Brothers really needed the win.
Yeah. That's great.
So that's it for banter. That covered video games and movies and general life shit. So let's move on to some news and Kickstarter, shall we?
Sure.
Well, I haven't asked in a little while. Is there a bloody minute?
No.
What happened to the season?
It's over. It wasn't that we didn't. It was only like 8 people.
I don't remember ever talking about. Did it end like while I was in Costa Rica?
I had like 2 concessions in a row, and that was it.
Oh,
yeah.
So I felt like I never heard about a championship or anything.
No, we didn't do any of that kind of. Yeah, it was just sort of like this is our first season of the 2020 rule set in person, so it just sort of happened, and then fucking. I think Thursby won with his stupid Wood Elves.
Wait,
his zero reroll fucking Wood Elves.
Didn't people say that like agility teams were garbage now or something?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Everyone was like, "Oh no, there's no way that agility teams could possibly be competitive."
Was that a lie?
Suck it, bitches.
Well, now we have 1 data point, so
it's 100% confirmed.
Yeah.
Yes, it was a lie. All right, cool.
All right.
So just have everybody do agility teams next round. It'll be good next season. Yeah.
There are some problems, especially in tournaments that Ant has perused. That halflings are becoming the best team because they can get stars, and stars are becoming extremely broken.
Super OP.
Like the big guy Morgan Thorg has a Mighty Blow +2 because now they added modifiers. So
Mighty Blow +2?
+2, which is just obscenely broken. Normally it's just +1.
That's the one that you can use it to be, so it'd be like either a +2 to hit or a +2 to armor.
Armor or injury. So if you break armor, I mean he's already strike 6. So if you break armor, if you break move 6, strength 6, edge 3, armor 10, mighty blow +2, no nega trait, and he became much cheaper this edition, like 50k cheaper, 70k cheaper, some obscene amount. But halfling teams are taking him plus another broken star, and just like fucking dominating tournaments.
And I'm assuming the halflings are just like, all right, we're just going to stand over here while those two just kill everything. And then we'll just.
You have 2 Treemen and Morgan Thorg, and they're just absolutely crushing everyone. And then Morgan Thorg's star once per game ability is re-roll a throw teammate. So it's almost a guaranteed 1-turn touchdown once per game.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, it's fucked. We are going to have a tournament here around the corner, the Stuffing Bowl.
Yeah.
Ant limited it to 1-star player, unless you are a tier 3 team or something like that. So we'll see how the stars work out in this next upcoming tournament.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Ready to go.
But I re-upped my NAF subscription.
Well, there you go.
To be able to go to that tournament.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, now we can move on to some news and Kickstarters.
First up in news, remember Risk Legacy and where it started the entire Legacy genre? Well, now there's like a spiritual successor, a Risk Legacy, not 2, but like Risk Legacy : has a different subtitle. It's not really a sequel. It's just another Risk.
Yeah. Risk Shadow Forces.
Yeah.
And
they're like, what if we made a Risk Legacy, but it used all of the things that are good about Legacy games and not just what we did first?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to start off, we're talking about this now because they've announced all of this. It is going to be $68.99. You can pre-order it now. It is going to ship in approximately a fucking year.
Yeah, October next year.
Yeah, October 1st, 2022.
It's Avalon Hill.
Yeah, Avalon Hill. It takes place in 2050.
It's through Hasbro Pulse, which I think is what HeroQuest went through.
Oh, their new?
I think that's what it was.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a Legacy style game. You're gonna write on it, change it all up. Yeah, only 4 sealed envelopes and 1 sealed container. So it seems like it's not like a Pandemic Legacy where you had like how many fucking boxes and how many envelopes. Like 10?
Yeah, in the article I read on Polygon about this, they were like, yeah, Risk Legacy sort of just turned into a bunch of gibberish at the end. It was just sort of to keep games becoming different as things went, where this will have a story like your traditional nowadays modern Legacy game.
Gotcha.
There's going to be a bunch of different factions.
They're adding a whole new game aspect that's a squad level skirmish game that will happen occasionally.
So it's a double-sided board. You'll have your Legacy board, and then on the other side you can play Risk, Shadow, whatever forces. I want to say factions, shadow factions. Gandalf's horse.
Yeah.
Oh
my God.
Deep cut. That's for you, Julie. So you can play. You can just play the game on the other side, just as a game, and then you can play on the flip side with the legacy mechanics. So you don't have to always play the legacy game. You can just play the game with the double-sided board.
Well, this sounds, the way they phrase this here is that there's going to occasionally be covert missions for the warlords who lead your factions to do a skirmish level game, like maybe as part of the campaign.
Yes. Yeah. That could also be part of it. But they also were like, you can just play on this other side and just play the game.
Yeah. It's going to be 15 missions, 10 global world map games that take about 60 minutes, and 5 skirmish games that take about 30 minutes. And then 2 9x14 double-sided game boards.
So it has 2 double-sided game boards.
Yeah, but only 9x14. So that's not that big.
It's not very big. No. Like,
I wonder if the one side, like, let me scroll back up to the map. Well, no, that might just be a 9x14 map. I can't tell if the map itself is going to be the 2. One side will be like put together to make the world map, and then there's 2 different skirmish maps, maybe.
And it's not foldable or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it seems neat.
Yeah, 3 to 5 players. Another Risk Legacy game coming from Avalon Hill.
It's coming
in a long time.
In a while. Yeah. How about that Nerf Halo Needler though?
That's pretty sweet.
That is pretty sweet.
Yeah. Anyway,
it glows when you hold it.
I don't need to hear that. I really don't.
It's only $100. Next up on board game news.
Hey, Skyrim? They're going to make a board game finally that might be good.
Todd Howard out it again. Every time you turn around, he's like,
here's another version of Skyrim.
Here's more Skyrim.
This comes from the people that made nothing that's super memorable. They had that one game that I was like, oh yeah, they did blank, and we were like, oh yeah, and now I've completely forgotten.
We do research. We just don't remember the research.
It was the Fallout War. It was the tabletop miniature war game Fallout. Wasteland Warfare.
Yeah, we do research. We just also have bad memories.
Yeah.
We don't write research down.
No.
We just say it into the void and hope that we remember it.
See, that's why there's 3 of us, because we got to keep bouncing off each other.
Yeah. We like to dish out information like they did before writing was invented.
Yeah. It's like a game of telephone. It's really the way we do news and Kickstarter. So
this is going to be on GameFound. It's going to be crowdfunded, and it's going to happen November 2nd.
Yep. There's also going to be a demo on Tabletop Simulator.
I also like how they just put the trailer for Skyrim on the page.
On the
be like, remember what Skyrim is? Remember Fus Roda? Huh?
Look, if you don't start each game somehow like waking up
in a cart,
in a cart, then it's also you better be able to fucking mod this and make those dragons fucking Thomas the Tank Engine. All right.
The modding community for all of the Elder Scrolls is ridiculous.
You could just 3D print a Thomas Tank Engine, put it in that fucking game.
That's true.
You definitely could.
You better do that.
I hope it's a stretch goal. Thomas Tank Engine.
Anyway, pledges are going to start at $95
I mean,
plus
that
shipping.
sounds right.
It's going to be hundreds of dollars.
I mean, I wasn't
sure
expecting this to be like a card, like just a little card game or
No,
something.
definitely not. There's going to be some ridiculous dragon minis, for sure.
There's going to be events. There's going to be allies.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's going to be some RPG system where you can build whatever kind of mage warrior character you want.
Except you always just do stealth.
Yeah, you always just stealth anyway. So
Also going to be campaign based, which I'm curious, like how it's going to do multiplayer, like how you're going to work
let's hope they
together.
make it competitive like the original Fallout board game.
I don't think they're that stupid. But it's going to be 2 main campaigns, each of them 3 chapters, is what the news bit here says for playing, at least for the base game. It's going to be cooperative.
Okay, it will be cooperative.
But you are going to pursue your own quests and glory, going to whoever comes. So it's going to be like semi-cooperative in that regard, because you're trying to definitely do objectives first. Like, who can yell Fusroda the loudest? Or who can yell it first? I don't know.
Let's hope.
Yeah. So, we'll have more information, I'm sure, when it actually launches, because we'll cover that on our Kickstarter/crowdfunding. That is just almost always Kickstarter.
I hope that there's like a big 3D mountain that has various magnet pieces, so you could take your horse and like just sort of put it on the side and be like, "That's accurate."
Vertical
right there.
horses.
Yeah,
that horse is going up that mountain. Did that? That's for sure.
That is it for news. So now we can move on to some Kickstarters / crowdfunding.
What if there's like a system underneath the board that just flips the board because the game crashed? But then they patch it like 6 months later so it stops happening. You never know. You have to get the real Elder Scrolls experience.
Yes, Hydra Chip Theory Games is doing Elder Scrolls. That was Chip Theory Games, right?
That was Modiphius.
I don't know.
I feel like you should answer.
Very confused. Chip Theory is doing a different one.
Modiphius.
Besides Modiphius, Chip Theory Games is also released a board game based on Elder Scrolls. I missed that. I just cut off the last paragraph in my brain. Well, we'll talk about that.
But there's
next
no
week.
Release date or title, so there's nothing to talk about it yet, except that it exists, and they announced it back in May.
Yeah.
So
we'll keep it. We'll keep an eye out for that one.
Yeah.
It threw me off. I was like, wait a second.
Yeah.
Anyway, now to Kickstarters.
First up in Kickstarter, we have Small Railroad Empires with its expansion. Very well funded, $38,000 of its $5,000 goal, 865 backers, less than a week to pledge, and you can get it for $100, like all Choo Choo games should be.
Wow.
Does that include the mat and the expansion, or is that like
that's like the all-in pledge?
Okay,
So.
all right.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't look at how much they cost.
It is expensive.
Small Railroad is a pick up and deliver route building set collection game. So
that's fairly unique. Wow.
I know, right? Such a unique combination of mechanics. So on your turn, one of the main things you're going to do is you're going to place 2 tracks for your train. And that is also the clock of the game. You play until everybody has placed all of their train tracks. So that is the route building portion. Additionally, when you connect to towns, different towns want different goods. And so as your train network expands, if you connect a good source to a town that wants that good, you score money and prestige based on the distance of your track. And like they did show, let me scroll down a bit here. They did show a thing that had like the what the ratio of that was. It's way down here. So yeah, like if you go 0 to 2 tracks, you're gonna get no money and you're gonna lose a prestige because you're a little short train track motherfucker.
You're a little piece of shit.
which isn't because it's like the exact opposite of real life. Instead of being like efficient and earning more money and prestige for like fast deliveries that are cost effective, no, you want really long, circuitous nonsense routes. Because if you can get all the way up to over 9 track, you get +3 money and +2 prestige, which is the highest. But so you're going to be connecting resources to towns. Once you've done that and you've kind of connected them, you have to actually deliver the goods. And to do that, the town has to want a good that the track connects to. Then you place a train meeple on the town and you play a train card. And then the train cards have additional like special goals on them. And this is kind of where the set collection type stuff comes in, is what cards you're trying to actually go for and what you're trying to accomplish. And so they have different scoring things based on like what type of train you go across, what kind of goods you deliver, things like that. Then there are going to be achievements on the board that's a race to complete them, with the first person to do an achievement getting higher, and then each subsequent person gets less and less and less for meeting that achievement. And then there's also unique contracts that each player can have, that also give you additional prestige points. And then at the end of the game, whoever has the most prestige is going to be the victor, is how the basic game plays. And then, like Jeff was saying, wow, there's a lot of pledges for this one. If we get all the way down here, that $100 pledge that Jeff was talking about is indeed the all-in. You get your Small Railroad Empires, which is the base game, 2 scenario packs, the Red Company expansion, the Freight on Board mini expansion.
Which is like sea lanes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you get the play mat and you get the deluxe track set, which are like fancy little train tracks instead of, punk ass little cardboard pieces.
Gotcha.
You know what? At least it's cardboard. That's.
Yeah, they're not paper track pieces.
Oh, that's good.
They're not thinly laminated paper track pieces. They do also, the tracks appear to just be little pieces, not like a hex that you have to place down, like in some 18xx games.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
I was way more interested in this until I saw the price tag. I was like rushing this morning, for this one because I was out all day with Megan. And so I was like scrolling through and I didn't look at how much it actually cost.
Well, you don't have to get everything.
No, but
I mean, just the small railroad empires by itself, it's like $50.
Yeah, it's pricey.
And if you already own the game, it's only like
depending on
the
what
freight
you
on
pledge
board
for.
Mini expansion and the upgrade pack are only $11. So it's not like, and everything new with the playmat's like $30.
Yeah,
but like new content, it's only $11.
That's, I don't know. Their prices are a little weird now that I'm looking at them. Definitely doing the like clearly didn't do enough research before the show on this particular Kickstarter. Scrolling through the Kickstarter, like, oh, hey guys, how about this? That's what we go for.
I mean, it seems like a fine choo-choo game that you will be paying significantly more for because it is a train game.
It also does seem like one that might actually hit the table, unlike all of my 18xx games that I own.
Yeah.
And then I took to Geekway and then didn't open a single one of them.
See, that's why you don't bring anything to any board game convention, because then you never play it.
I actually played a lot of the games I brought, just not any of the choo-choo games.
Well, you could have saved half as much.
You are very late, Boyd.
I see a wizard? Because wizards arrive, whatever that saying is. I don't know.
A wizard is never late. They arrive precisely when they mean to.
Yeah.
But Boyd is certainly not anything I would ever call a wizard. Next up on Kickstarter.
You just missed out on a train game, Boyd.
Next up is Senjutsu. Very well funded. $882,000 of its $7,500 goal, which I think is fucking ridiculous. Over 9,200 backers, 2 weeks left to go, which you can pledge for its most popular pledge of $68.
Yeah, so Senjutsu is a samurai dueling game using a little bit of deck crafting to have
samurai duels.
Samurai showdowns, yep.
Love that video game for the PlayStation 1.
I don't remember that game for the PlayStation 1.
No.
So Senjutsu takes place during the I lost it where it had it on the page what they called it. I should have wrote it down. I got to start making notes.
Warring States period of feudal Japan.
Yep. So it's 1 to 4 players. You each control a unique samurai, and you battle in 1 to 4 samurai duels, using a kind of card, like deck building, card placement kind of game.
Deck construction.
Deck construction, yes. A whole bunch of stuff comes in at different battle terrain things, different custom minis and things like that. Scroll down here to where they talk about how to play, because that's what's actually the important part.
You don't know minis games then if you think how to play is the most important part for purchasing it.
I think I've complained way before about how you have to scroll 3/4 of the way down a Kickstarter page to actually see how to play.
Also, I was confusing Samurai Showdown, which is a many different part fighting game, with Bushido Blade. Bushido Blade is the game I was thinking of.
Bushido Blade's a bunch of fun.
Bushido Blade.
Yeah.
It's where it's like one hit kill kind of game.
So it has deck construction where you can build your decks if you want. They also have pre-made decks for whichever samurai you want to play as. There's a few different things that kind of play into this. So they have a Kamae tree and Kame ring that adds a little bit of like tactical play about like how the ring moves around on the little card, gives you different bonuses and power-ups. But the basic way the game is played is each player chooses an ability card face down. You flip them. One of them will have a higher initiative, and that one will go first, and they determine how you move. So it'll have like, number of spaces and whether you get to like turn and change your facing, because facing is important in this game. It'll also have to do with like what kind of attacks you do. And then if you do hit, you play attack cards where if they actually go off, you deal different wound cards, and wound cards have different effects on them that'll affect that will like determine what kind of wounds you suffer and what kind of penalties you have for your wounds. And then each samurai has a different wound limit, and once they've gotten wounds equal to that wound limit, they are defeated. So like in a 4-player game, you obviously have to defeat all 3 other samurais, which might be harder, except everybody's, samurai melee is what it is. Just big, crazy fight in the center.
Gotcha. So what cards do you use then for the melee if you are like rolling and blocking and the circle appears and no? Never mind.
No, not Smash Brothers.
All right.
There is blocking as part of your facing. Blocking cards have like a range of initiative values shown on them, and if your opponent's attack card matches one of those, then you do block. Otherwise, your block is too early or too late. And if you block really well, you can get a parry. There's a whole bunch of crazy mechanics that go into the fighting of it. Yeah, that's basically it. Your samurais you're fighting, you use your deck construction, and you play your different cards with their initiatives. You block, you defend, you attack. Good stuff.
Yeah. It's a reasonable price. It's got minis. It seems like an interesting card combat game.
It seems better now that I thought it was just one-on-one. You said it was multiple. You could have
it can be.
Yeah.
It can be. It's 1 to 4 players, and they even had up here an image of like 3 or 4 samurai on one of the boards. As I scroll way back up to the top.
Yeah, there are like troops and stuff that you can use in
because
battle.
I think some of them like up here on the very top page, like there's 4 in a line. I guess could just be a.
But there's also minis for like
players.
10 like foot soldiers of various.
Yeah, and they went over like some of the different samurais they have, and it seems like some of them could potentially like the base game is 6 miniatures, but I think the things you were seeing, Jeff, are from some of the expansions and add-on stuff.
Like right there.
Yeah. That is all part of the Path of the Ronin solo narrative campaign, where you're actually potentially fighting, or maybe the Brother-in-Arms co-op narrative campaign.
Well, there's no way to know.
I don't know. I'm sure there is if you read in depth into this Kickstarter.
That's way much more effort than we want to do.
Yeah. But if you're looking for a samurai fighty game, I was initially a little thrown off. Like you get down way to the bottom of this, and it has like hey, welcome to the team, and like the first like 5 people are all just white dudes, and I was like, But then they actually have a few people who are like cultural consultants and stuff who are actually like Japanese or Japanese descent.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, well at least that's better.
Okay, they didn't pull anybody's name off of Wikipedia that didn't actually exist, did they?
Now that I have not, I did not do that in depth of research. But it is a big old team of people that made this game happen.
Maybe a miniature that they made that's based off of a Wikipedia that they just looked up and were like, that's a real thing.
Yeah. We're certainly not referencing something that happened
Rising
Sun with
another Japanese game.
Yeah. Last up on Kickstarters.
Steam Up. Very well funded, $200,000 of its $32,000 goal. Over 3,400 backers and about 2 weeks left to go, which you can get for its most popular pledge of $64.
Indeed. So this is a competitive dim sum collection board game for 2 to 5 players.
Are you collecting dim sum?
Yes. Okay. So the theme of it is that you and however many people you're playing with, 2 to 5 players, you all are sitting down at a table to eat dim sum. And all you know is that your friends want to eat more dim sum than you, and you're not about to let that shit happen.
Yeah.
You're hungry. You know what dim sum you want to eat, and you're trying to eat as much of it as you fucking can.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I remember I saw this, no concept of how the game actually played. I just saw it was a bunch of little like steam baskets and like little, not gummy, but like plushy sort of squishy pieces. And I was like, okay, well, we need to talk about this, and then I'll let the other people figure out how the game actually plays.
Yeah. So
yes, add it to the list and care not what else.
Yep.
So it actually does a bunch of interesting stuff after I looked into it. So the center board is like a I don't know if there's a better word for this, but I know it as a lazy Susan.
It's basically
like,
rotating table.
I assume there's an actual like culturally appropriate word for that, but I don't know it. So lazy Susan, that you have all your steam baskets with all of your different dim sum in, and you are taking actions to kind of spin it and try and get the dim sum you want in front of you. And everybody else is obviously trying to do the same thing. And then when it's done rotating, you get to eat from whatever's in front of you. And then you're trying to put it on your individual player boards that you fill up with different types of the dim sum things.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're rotating the board around. As you can see, like if you're watching the stream on the little thing there, then you gain and spend different food tokens to purchase the entire steamers off the stack that's in front of you, and you get everything that's in it. Those things go down onto your player board.
I do also like how they word it. Move steamers with dim sum you crave into your feast zone.
Yes.
You got a zone of feast.
Just right in front of you. There's fortune cards that everybody gets to play that shift things around and add a little bit of chaos. There's also fate cards that are like a event for the round. They happen every round. And you keep doing that until you run out of steamers, and then whoever has the most hardy points because they filled up on dim sum is the winner of the game.
I think I may make it a point if I ever play this. So just even if everything tells me to get chicken feet, I'm just gonna be like, no, I don't like chicken feet. And I'm not gonna grab any of them in here.
Yeah.
Yeah. You mean Phoenix Claws?
Oh, that sounds fine then.
Yeah, Phoenix Claws, shrimp dumplings, meat dumplings, sticky rice, barbecue meat buns.
Are the
I do love me some barbecue meat buns.
The standard edition is just pretty regular board gamey, like cardboard bits for the things. That's running about $48.
Also, your like weird animals, like.
You could be it's each of the 12 zodiac animals, and each has the unique ability and starting resources,
including the magician rabbit with a top hat and magic wand.
Does that top hat like let food appear or disappear?
I don't know, but that's definitely someone you could be. It's holding the wand in its mouth.
Yeah, I don't know. If you want to jump up to the deluxe edition, so the base game, like I said, was $48. If you want to jump up to that deluxe edition and get those fancy little slushy, squishy things, then that's going to run you 60 some bucks, 64-ish.
That's not too much worse.
Not really, no. Especially, I feel like
I like that, and then it turns all the scoring markers into meeples, which is cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Little like,
but I do like that it comes with the stackable steamers regardless.
Yeah,
like
part of the game.
Yeah,
and you can get an insert for another $30 from Raptor.
There's also double-sided feast zone indicator, so depending on what number of people you're playing with, your feast zone might be bigger.
That's No,
might be able to get to 2 different stacks. Just like when you go out to eat dim sum in real life, the more people you go with, the harder it's going to be to get what you want out of the baskets.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been to dim sum, I don't think, since the last time I was in Vegas with Dan. I need to go get some. Is there a good dim sum place in Denver?
There's one good place, or one or two good places from what I've heard.
Man.
I haven't
had dinner. Now I want to
say there's a new place where Euclid Hall used to be.
Okay.
But I don't know if it's like a noodle place or it's actually dim sum.
Well, there you go. That's Steam Up if you want to play a game that's going to make you want to eat some dim sum. And that's it for news and Kickstarters.
Yep.
That moves us over to some listener feedback section of the show. No emails this week. However, there was one new YouTube comment from Paulo over on Paulo's Corner saying that I live for corrections because he continues to correct us when we say anything with the wrong pronunciation. Last week it was Matryoshka, which I already forgot the correct way to say it. Matryoshka.
Yeah.
And so that's what he was correcting us on last time. And I'm sure this time he'll probably correct us. I wouldn't be surprised if it's on Denis Villeneuve, Denis V.
Good old Denis V.
His pronunciation. So yeah, that is all of the listener feedback this week. If you would like to send us some listener feedback, you can do that in a few different ways. You can send us some emails.
Emails at milehighgameguys.com.
You can follow us over on Twitter, where I tweet under @MHGameGuys.
I am Zach_MHGG.
I am Jeff_MHGG.
We have an Instagram account @MHGameGuys. Facebook account, also /MHGameGuys, with podcast episodes.
Yes. With their name changing, I'm sure there's going to have to be something else.com. So
waiting with bated breath.
I know, yeah.
I really hope they become the Seattle website team. That's what I'm rooting for.
.org.
Yeah. For our website, go to punchboardmedia.com and search for MHGG or Mile High Game Guys to see episode posts with links to all of the different news and Kickstarters we talk about, as well as links to things like our BGG guild number 2731, or to our Slack channel, which is easily one of the best ways to hang out and get in touch with us. And just give us and everybody adjacent to us a whole bunch of shit. If you want to make fun of bullshit Paul, Slack channel's the best place to do it.
That's it.
Yeah. Also, be sure to follow us over on Twitch, twitch.tv/MHGameGuys, if you want to see behind-the-scenes look at the recording of these episodes and participate in what is, at least tonight, a very active chat about the things that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you can also see when we do live streams of games, which happen occasionally on Fridays, as well as every other week I do Mile High Dungeon Delvers, a D&D 5e live play thing with some other local Denver people. So if you're interested in any of that, that's where to go check all of that stuff out. I think that's basically everything there. So thanks everybody for listening. As always, I've been your host, Adrian.
I am still Zach.
And I'm Snowboarder Jeff.
Bye.
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 Punchboard Media,
where we all
bring something
to the table.
Pull up a chair
at punchboardmedia.com.